What's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 91 of the Offshore Gamescast. Dylan!
Hey, Dave!
Hey, Dylan.
Hey,
Hey,
wow.
Dylan.
Wow, crazy.
Hey, you're back.
I'm back, you're back.
We're both back.
We are.
There's, you know what? Life gets in the way.
Life
is like
a box of chocolates.
Life is like a box of melty chocolates.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to get is disappointing, and then you open the box, and it's disappointing.
And then you find out half of the box, or I guess to be more accurate, a third of the box, those chocolates are on like the other side of the world, and it makes it even more difficult to schedule these things out. That third is Lyle.
You know what? And we're all melted. You, me, and Lyle. We're soggy ass chocolate at the end of the day.
It's not even like individual pieces of chocolate. It's just a puddle of melted chocolate.
It's a puddle. It's a pile. It's a major pile.
What a happy note to start the episode on.
I'll stop the world and podcast with you. All right, listen.
Lyle's not here if you can't tell.
If you can't tell,
we're off the rails, which means that she's not here because there's no order.
No, it's nighttime. Dylan's tired. I'm a good more than half a pint of whiskey deep, and we got video games to talk about. It's how it works.
Yeah.
So today, for example, we'll be talking about Octopath Traveler 2. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel weird. I feel like we should have reviewed this game a while ago. It takes a while to review games. Our schedule is the way it is. I want to talk about this game. It's been a while. It's time to talk about it. But next week, on the 18th starting, Lyle should be back. We'll be talking about Dredge. That game looks pretty fun and exciting. Dylan, 25th, what do you got going on?
Crime Boss Rocky City. I have not actually started it yet, so I'm real interested to jump in and see Chuck Norris. And I don't know, maybe it gives me a mission or something.
I have started it.
Have you seen Chuck Norris?
I think so.
Did he give you a mission?
He didn't give me a mission. Chuck Norris is the bad guy in that game.
What?
He's the sheriff. He's the guy who's trying to stop you from doing all the bad stuff.
Oh.
He's the bad guy.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right, well, May 2nd, what do you got going on?
May 2nd, we're coming back. We should have a pretty old episode on Dead Island 2.
Why is the episode old?
Because, I don't know, man. It's been, honestly, Dead Island 2, there's no other way to talk about the game besides being old. It was announced in 2014.
I guess that's true.
It is, honestly, give it another year and a half, and in, video game cycles and, dog and cat lives, it probably can drink. It's gone through 3 developers. I feel like it could have drank 20 years ago.
Before there is even a concept for the first one.
Before there is even a concept. Honestly, they're I'm going to think of a video game. The second one's already drunk.
It's basically, at Tetris's level of oldness.
It is.
Not of greatness.
It's wait till the Dead Island 2 movie comes out, where it's not, about what happens. It's about the making of Dead Island 2.
Yeah, I don't understand the Tetris movie.
I want to watch it, but
I don't get it.
I get it. It's like the McDonald's movie, but Tetris.
That didn't help me at all.
Did
Super
you watch
Size
the McDonald's
Me?
Movie? No, that's a documentary.
They're playing Tetris and they're
no.
bigger.
No, it's that it's the one with Michael Keaton, The Founder. That's what it's called.
Founder.
Where he's
no.
He plays Ray Kroc, and he goes over to meet the McDonald's, and then he takes over the business and makes McDonald's what it is today.
So he just goes into the restaurant. Is nice to meet you. I own you now.
In a way, to be honest, on TikTok, I've been seeing a lot of your clips from that movie, and he just kind of comes in and is like, "Come on, let me do what I want to do." And they're like, one of them's like, "Yeah, I'm down," and the other one's, "Fuck you." And then he keeps coming back, and he's like, "Let me do what I want to do." And I assume he gets to do what he wants to do. He's Ray Kroc.
That's the classic movie plot right there.
It is. Can't do what you want to do. I'm gonna do what I want to do. Damn. Credits. That's the movie.
That's it.
That's it. That's it as well. Big thank you, Dylan. Say thank you.
Thank you, Battle Bunny.
Thank you, Battle Bunny.
If you are watching this on YouTube, which you can go to YouTube and see our faces along with some gameplay footage of the game we are talking about. So we got our gameplay footage from the YouTuber Battle Bunny. So thank you. We appreciate that. Go check out their channel. They do walkthroughs, no commentary walkthroughs of a bunch of different games. So if you need help with the game, or you just want something on the background, or you just like watching a game being played without people going, "Bleh," you know?
It's a very in-depth game. There's a lot going on in it.
And if you enjoy their channel, subscribe to them, and then come right back to us and subscribe to us and follow us on all the podcast platforms. And if you have not already, please leave us a review, comment on this video, Apple Podcasts, 5 stars, Spotify, 5 stars, 5 stars everywhere. Unless it's out of 10 stars, then do 10.
Well, no.
Unless you think we're only 50% satisfactory.
Then 2.5 stars, if that's an option.
If yes,
it's okay.
But if it's out of 5, if it's out of 10, then you can go back to 5. See what I'm saying? Dave, tell me about Octopath Traveler 2.
If I have to, all right.
You do. No choice.
So, together it was a main developed project between Square Enix Asano specifically and the Acquire Corp. Game itself being published by Square Enix. Came out initially on February 24th of 2023 and is available on the Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC.
I don't like that Acquire Corp is not the big company that's out there acquiring everything.
They'd be really good at it, but you know what? That's just Embracer, which, I mean, it makes sense too. They're embracing.
No, it should be Acquire Corp buying Embracer, and then Embracer's like, we embrace that.
They're like, yeah, we're okay with this.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. And Acquire Corp doesn't make shit. They just buy people.
Yeah,
they should be the publisher.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. This
right,
relationship is backwards.
We're gonna say it now. 2027
Wow.
in April is when Acquire will buy Square Enix.
That would, yes, because right now they are Acquired Corp. Well, actually, I guess I don't know.
Acquired?
Well, that's if Square Enix owns them, but I don't know if that's the case.
I don't know if that is the case.
But if they're owned by Square Enix, they're frauds.
We're getting to a level of semantics that I've never even gotten to.
Your entire life?
My whole life. This is a huge
this
level.
This is the deepest it's gone.
This is the boss level of semantics, and I'm not ready for it.
Just adding an extra D in there.
Oh my god. There's just too many. It's Acquire. They acquired. It's lore. It's too much. We already have enough lore going on with Octopath Traveler 2, and oh my god, with 8 separate characters, there's enough lore to go around with everybody. I do want to start, though, going between each of the characters and their jobs. They're all employed.
So the one person is a cashier, and another one is a barista, and another one is a plumber.
Wow. This is a movie. This is the wrong game. Mario!
Another one is a taxi driver.
No. We have, the classics. Like, you go up and you hand in your resume, and it's like, maybe you'll be a scholar, or a cleric, or a thief. The standard.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The standard profession.
I would like to be a thief, please. Here's my resume.
One thief job coming right up. Starting off, I want to talk about our... I say our, but it's my... anytime these games come out, and no matter who it is, they're gonna latch onto their one character. And since this game was like being started to be marketed, and they even just showed like the little bit of, not concept art, but like the standard character art for each one of them stuck out to me so much more than the others, and that's my boy Oswald, who, oh man, like, if granted, I'd say all of these characters have pretty good in-depth stories that are already going on with each of them, but like, if any game if this game were to pick one character to start with, I feel like it really should be Oswald, because of just how enthralled, at least I am. So our boy, he's locked away on Frigid Isle, basically the Alcatraz of this. Was it Celestia, whatever
I don't know.
whatever
I know
country
frigid
there.
sounds like. All right, go back like 15 to 20 years when we're kids.
All right, I'm a kid.
I feel like this is something like we'd be running around middle school calling each other.
Frigid?
Yeah, like yes.
All right, don't get me wrong. We went to 2 different schools and we've had these conversations before. And like every school does their own little stupid shit. Who the fuck is running around at recess going, "Hey, frigid, you frigid bitch, you stupid bitch, you frigid little," and like what? Some 5th grader walking out be like, "Yo, give me the ball back, you frigid bitch." Like,
Yes,
what?
it's well, okay. Well, I don't know. My middle school was not running around recess going, "You bitch, give me the ball."
I guess we went to 2 different schools.
I guess we did. But yeah, if that, yes, that's all I wanted to say. I thought of that earlier when I saw. I was like, yeah, that's something to be like, yeah, frigid.
I mean, if that was a legit like insult in this universe, imagine being locked up. Like frigid's like the "hey, you fucking idiot." Imagine being locked up in Idiot Isle and like you're in prison there and you're the biggest idiot and you're just like you're just chilling, waiting for your time to get out because you got stuff going on. But you're stuck in the idiot town and you're like, "Fuck you, I'm surrounded by idiots." But you know you're not an idiot. Well, how terrible would that be?
But I don't know. I feel like knowing you're not a frigid makes you the biggest frigid of them all.
That's oh man, what a terrible insult we're starting right now. I don't want to come back in like 30 years and like look at a Webster dictionary and be like frigid, coined by the Offshore Gamescast, 2 of the biggest frigids out there, and like, oh come on.
If I'm in my almost 50s and things are still being talked about that we did today, then I think life went pretty good. Going on today in a negative light.
So as long as people continue to breathe, eat, and shit, that'll all be reflected on us.
What? What are you talking about?
That's what we are. We eat shit and do other stuff. That's what everyone will be doing. That's what we do. So if they do it, then they're talking about us in 30 years.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I just don't.
It
I'm not
doesn't matter.
following this.
It's all right.
I just know you're being a real frigid right now.
This is the part of the podcast where people really decide that they don't want to listen anymore, and that's okay. We're gonna keep talking about.
Then they're the frigids.
You can't say that. We've already started something.
Heel turn.
Oh my god. Anyway, Oswald. He's basically locked in Alcatraz. He sat there and he's bided his time for the past 1,879 days. He's kept there with a muzzle on. He's a scholar. He can do magic. No one wants him doing magic and speaking his little abracadabras. No one wants that going on. So he's got a muzzle on, but this whole time he's planning to escape and exact revenge on the man who framed him, who put him in that idiot isle.
That does sound like it. I don't know. I'm just imagining like a bunch of frigids all together. Like, how do we stop the magic man? Muzzle.
Muzzle. Make it so he don't talk his magic words. The biggest frigid of them all is Harvey. Harvey is the man who betrayed Oswald and left him at the scene of a gruesome fire that took both the lives of his wife and his daughter.
Oof.
And his beloved home.
I mean, not the home.
He can't sleep anymore. I mean, I don't know. Actually, if I was in the nicest 5-star hotel, I don't know if I'd still be sleeping if my wife and daughter were dead. But he really can't sleep now.
No, not without a home.
Escaped, he is now free to roam the continent, set out in search of his own form of justice.
So he's Batman.
Yeah, he's going around trying to find Harvey and just giving people Indian burns the whole time. Just like, tell me what I want to know. Abracadabra.
Abracadabra.
The cool thing about Oswald, every single one of these little Octopath little boys, they have their own special job. Now, when it comes to some of the jobs, or at least the jobs are more focused per character, but then some we'll get into some of the abilities later, which are sort of like you're gonna get one of them at some point to like better round out your team. But Oswald's a scholar. He's a very elemental boy. He's focused on ice, fire, and shock. He'll do damage to all the enemies. You can focus on a whole bunch. His special thing is his little analyze skill, which is like what are you weak to? How much health do you have? The same
That
thing
seems
from the first
useful.
game. It is, but like you also waste an entire turn
Mm.
of that character trying to figure that stuff out. But like it definitely has its uses. Um, I don't know if they did this in the original game, but one thing that I noticed in this one was when you go to focus on like a specific enemy, their name underneath will change between three colors. White being like, all right, we just woke up out of bed, had our cup of coffee, and are ready for our day. Like we are full healthy. Yellow, which is like, you got me about halfway down. I'm still kicking. And red, like, all right, man, dirt nap time. I'm ready to go to sleep. Like they're about to die.
I mean, it's been a minute since that first one came out and we were playing it. I don't
Mm.
remember that though.
It's a very small detail to which one that took me. I ended up seeing it somewhere and then going back to game like a good 15 hours in and going, oh shit, that's nice. That helps. I like that. Um, but his little main weapon, he uses a staff. Every little character has like their main sort of thing, just like the first game. Uh, we got the little cleric next, Temenos. He's an inquisitor for the Order of the Sacred Flame. It's like the biggest religious group going on. He's on a quest to discover the reasoning behind a string of murders that fall in line with the scripture from the gods. Apparently, some douchebag is going around killing people. Fucks up
Is
with that.
is Temenos and their sacred flame shit? Is it in a snowy town?
I don't believe so. I mean, the Sacred Flame is like just their standard like religion thought process based off the eight gods. To which I mean, both the first and the second game are connected in that sort of general world lore. There are eight gods, each with like their own special thing, and that's sort of like where the Octopath comes from. These are like, oh, here's like baby bits of the gods just out exploring.
There's little baby guys out in the world.
Little demi babies out punching things.
I feel like JRPGs especially, whenever they have like that religious, they all have that religious group, and they're always in like a snowy town. It's always like wintry where they are.
Okay. I mean, there's definitely like wintry areas, but it's not where you find Temenos.
Mm, they did it.
They did it.
They switched it up on us.
Starting with the Pontiff, which is a very high member of the order, sort of like almost like a not like the Pope esque, but he's pretty high up.
Okay.
He's the first to go in like a staged murder. Temenos is just out there seeking the answers to the deaths, and for some reason, he's just an asshole. He's just a dickhead. He just loves feuding with people all along the way. Like his whole shtick is like, doubt. Like he hits X to doubt. Like everything anyone says, he's like, I don't believe it. And like he comes off like worse than Aloy does in the beginning of the second game. Like he's just everything you say, he's got something else to say to it, and he's like, well, what do you think about that? And it's like, I don't think anything, Tomanos. I just want to shove my fist in your goddamn face. Like that's what he's like.
He
but like
sounds
he's also
like
lovable.
a rookie
It's
detective.
annoying. He is.
That
His
like
whole
is the
thing
first
being a
day
detective.
on the job, and they think they're like hot shit.
Oh, he is nothing but chutzpah. He is 120% chutzpah.
I don't
like,
know what that is.
I don't know either. It's just
Okay.
it's an exclamation. It's like chutzpah. It's like like you're strong, you're big, you got like that drive. You're gonna go fucking kick some names and take some ass, like that sort of shit.
All right.
Well, he's a cleric. So on top of being an asshole, he likes to heal people. He's the healing class.
What a
He revives
weird
others.
combination.
It's something. His whole thing. He also loves using a staff, and light attacks, like light based damage. Because there's like dark based
Like the
damage.
element light, not like
Yeah,
yeah.
his thing was interesting out of all of them because when it comes to when you're using some of the abilities for each character, they will like say the name of the move. So there's two different types where like for in general magic attacks, you have certain attacks that'll maybe attack only one person, and then you have the stronger version of the attack that'll attack everybody that you're fighting. So with Temenos and like his light based attack, you have Holy Light, which attacks one person, and Luminescence, which attacks them all. I can't off the top of my head think of what vocal or audio thing happens when I use Luminescence, but every single time I use Holy Light, all I can hear in my dreams is Temenos going, Holy Light, Holy Light. Like it's the way it's delivered. It's everything about it. It is just like it just runs in my head like a hamster on a wheel. Like it is just Holy Light. It's there and I hear it. I heard it the first time and I was like, I hate it. I hate it. It's bad. That's what they decided to use for every
That's
single
I,
time we're using this
I
attack.
would have at least thought if it's an attack, there would be more like holy light.
Holy Light.
Not just like
Holy
holy light.
Light. Holy Light. Oh, it's Holy Light. Like it's just the softest. Like you take like a real flimsy cracker and you snap it. Like it, no one will notice unless they're right next to you. Just Holy Light. Oh my god, I can't. Throne. Throne's next. She's the big thief. I at least for me when I decided who I wanted for my party first, the first three characters I chose, I was just so enthralled. I was just so into it. Their stories and everything going on. Like obviously with Oswald with his whole shit, and then Tomanos is like, I'm a detective and an asshole, and I'm gonna figure this out. And like, all right, you got my attention. Throne is another one where it's very depressing. Um, she's been held down and like tricked all her life to follow the orders of two malicious beings who call themselves like mother and father of the group, this cultist shit. And she sets off to remove this collar that her and her other like subordinates wear to like keep them chained to this group. After sort of learning that
Just
like
another Saturday, you know.
just another Saturday, she ended up learning that the four people in like her higher up group that was maybe like one step down from mother and father, their whole group, it was just a test to find out of those four pitted against each other who would survive and take over their rightful place as the next father or leader or something like that. And Throne was the one to pop out, but she is sick of this shit. She's out for revenge and like what she deserves. She's gonna kill. She
Oh,
wants nothing to do with them anymore, and she just all she wants is mother and father each have a key that you need to unlock this collar, and that's all she wants is this collar off.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah,
I
it
think
makes
that's pretty
absolute
fair.
sense. She's a thief. Her main weapon is a dagger and a sword. She also focuses on like the dark energy powers or whatever. And her cool class thing is that she could steal enemies from battle, steal items from enemies from battle.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
like, you're mine. Go in my
Yeah,
pocket.
so after everything,
I'll
she starts
save
her
this.
own cult and is like putting collars on other enemies to
Throne, you've been ordering a lot of cages off Amazon. And like, what do you got going on? It's like nothing, nothing. She like I don't know, like they'll have like a soul stone you could steal or something. Like I don't use it too often. I'm just like everyone on my team is like fucking attack, 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 and heal a little bit, attack.
yeah.
Next up, we have Agnia. She's a sweet little one. All she wants to do is dance. She's a small village girl with big dreams. She's looking to follow in the shoes of her mother. She wants to be a star, the most popular dancer ever. And she'll do what she must to get what she needs to get there and achieve that dream. Uh,
That
She's a dancer.
that feels
That's
that feels a little
it's very happy.
yeah, there it feels like there's a lot less stakes with that.
I mean,
Like
there's a lot.
frame dude loses his whole family and his home,
It's
uh,
yeah,
uh,
there's a lot going on, and then you have
breaking away from
Agnia,
a
who's just
cult, and
like,
then I just want to
she,
dance.
I just want to explore and dance and make people happy, and like
Yeah,
that's all
that
I want
one.
to do. So her whole thing is just going across the two continents and just exploring and being like, "Am I a good enough dancer?" And they're like, "You're a really good dancer." And she's like, "Oh shucks," and like that's her whole thing. Her main thing is a dagger. She deals wind damage. Um, returning from the first one, she has the ability. I think it was Primrose in the first one who did this, but there's a special ability that some of these characters have, and Agnia has it called Bewildering Grace, where for the cost of a certain amount of skill points during a battle, you could just make something random happen. Just something. It could be
Yeah, I kind of remember
positive,
this. Yeah.
it could be negative, but something. And later on, as you're progressing, you'll the same thing with the combat will come back from the first game, the battle points. So as you're going through, when it refreshes and it's like a new turn again, each of your characters will get a battle point that you can use to either attack more, attack stronger. So if you save those for Agnia and use her Bewildering Grace, you could use it 4 times. Just have 4 random things happen in one turn. Maybe they're all good, maybe they're all bad, maybe it's a mix of both. You never
Feels
know.
like that kind of like pulls from D&D a little bit of like roll the dice and see what happens.
Yeah, roll for initiative. You never know what you're gonna get. She also uses a dagger. Her wind damage. One of her best skills that she has, which is absolutely overpowered, is she has a super strong kick that no matter what the enemy's weakness is, that kick will do 1 shield worth of damage, 1 armor's worth of damage, which is really powerful to
That seems
start.
super helpful.
Oh yeah, I when you start unlocking some of the other skills for these characters, you look at them and it's like that is fucking OP. Like, you sure? Either are you sure you want to give me this, or oh no, it's gonna get much harder from here if you're giving me this. Like, it's it's a lot, but you have so many different tools to play with, which is nice. We're only halfway done. Hikari's next. Um, all he really wants is to look for the rest of his comrades and hope to take down his tyrannical brother who sits the throne. It's a good little
Ah, like a
family.
Dragonetian.
Yeah, your brother's an asshole. He sits the throne. He doesn't deserve it. You gotta take that out. It's fucked up. You can't be having that. We're a warrior, mainly using just a sword and a pole arm to deal massive damage, and just kind of like buffing himself and the team. Not very elemental. It's a lot of up and down. It's like, who of these 8 characters do you want to be your 4 team party? And with some of their abilities later on, it's like it really almost doesn't matter. But your choice. You have fun with it. Um, my most recent friend Particio, who I've been waiting to pick up, he's got some unfinished business with an old mentor that he wants to kind of figure out after getting a little fucked over in the town that him and his dad helped build. His dad's kind of business partner said, "Yeah, this is kind of fucking stupid. I'm gonna go invest in something else." And it's like, okay, we're gonna go figure that out and probably kill him. Fuck it. As a merchant, Particio focuses in his pole arm and bow to deal damage, with a little bit of elemental fire for some spice. One of his little extras is he can grant more battle points to some of the other characters to really lash out some big attacks. And his one thing is he can dodge attacks, which is very good to whether it being protect yourself during whatever attack is going to get hit towards you, or just just not get hit at all. A lot of these extra things just feel so OP if they're used correctly. That's the thing.
I just want to throw out there that up to this point, every single character is like, I need revenge. This is a revenge-driven story, and then Agnia just wants to dance.
Yeah, just like
That's
let me go and just
I just want to,
let me just grow and just be a dancer and
and
whatnot.
everyone
It's like,
else
you
is
know what,
like,
you
I got
go.
fucked and I need revenge.
Cause like that was one of the funny things. Cause when I started playing, it's like I had Oswald. He's fucking depressed as shit. You have Temenos. He's got determination to figure out what's going on here. You got Throne, who's like, I can't be put down any longer. And you got Agni, who's like, I haven't been here before. And that's like it. That's
How
her whole thing.
pretty.
This is wow. This is nice. Wait, what? You guys have that here? That's cool. Like, that's all. But she's so sweet, and I love it. It's so nice. Um, Coming up next, we have Oket. Very, very jungle hunter themed. We're out searching for the Beast of Legends after their home was ravaged, and they have like these little trained beasts that they have with them. So it's kind of like a
So you're saying their home was ravaged and now they're seeking revenge for their home.
after. Well, yeah. What are you gonna do? Not seek revenge? Fucking what? Of course. So we have to seek revenge and take out this beast, but it's also like a half and half because it's like we're also a hunter, so it's like we would be doing this anyway, but we have a reason to. It makes it okay.
Makes it okay. Yeah.
So traveling out with one of her two trained beasts, Oket is out with an axe and a bow to hunt their enemies with some lightning-based damage that can raise. She can also raise critical hit chance and make foes attack at the end of their turn.
That sounds.
Speed is
Sorry. That
no,
sounds
you're
very
good.
similar to. I don't remember the character's name in the first one, but I remember it being like an axe and a bow and lightning attacks and very like wilderness themed.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to a lot of these, they're very similar to the first game. Just it's like the baseline is there, and it's like how do we make it different from the baseline? You're
Okay.
gonna have those standard things, just like any game. It's like if this game has jumping, the next game's gonna have jumping, but it's with a girl this time. It's like that sort of stuff. Speed is a big thing, and when it comes to battles, having either your team attack first or the enemies attack last can really make a difference with sort of like messing up their flow. And similar to the first game, if you're able to break the shield or stance of the enemy in the one turn that you're in, it also negates them and puts them in like a stun mode for their second turn, giving them time to like work their way back up and like build up that armor again, but leaving them extremely defenseless. So having something like that happen where you can take them out, break their defenses, and then have them fight at the end of the turn. If like there's so many things this game gives you to just do it. it I'm having like a fight in my head because there's two things. You have something like Octopath Traveler 2, and of all things, you have Far Cry 6.
Oh yeah, classic comparison there.
When it comes to Octopath 2, it really gives you all the tools you need to do really good if you fight a certain way. But in a way, it encourages that in a positive light. Far Cry 6 does that in the worst way possible. Because when it comes to something like Octopath, you're going to be fighting regardless, but here are ways to make the fighting better or easier or more up where you're trying to go. When it comes to something like Far Cry 6, they had the full intention of being like, you should go out there and blow shit up. That's your only option. To when Far Cry is such a massive, like, how do you want to play? Do you want to sneak in? Do you want to go guns blazing? Do you want to set traps? Like, you have so many options. But the differences between these two games is when they give you all of those things to make the gameplay more efficient and better, you're at least incentivized to do so with the amount of tools you have, which is very nice.
I think I'm seeing the comparison.
It's a comparison in the way of Far Cry fucked up and Octopath does it right.
Yeah, different scopes, I guess, though.
Different scopes for different folks.
Of course, yeah. That's what we're going here.
Exactly. Now, to finish out the roster, we have Casty. After a group of apothecaries are plagued by one of their own and losing their memory, Casti must find out why. Why is
Ah,
this happening? Why is apothecaries being mean?
so
Why can't they remember anything? It's not necessarily revenge. This is more like the Temenos, like, let me figure this out.
it's definitely revenge adjacent.
I maybe more vengeance in a way.
Which is basically revenge.
No, revenge is when it's something done to you personally and you get something back. Vengeance is sort of like avenging, like you're doing that on the behalf of others.
Okay, but it's still, it kind of goes hand in hand.
Granted, your memory's also fucked up, so maybe you did drink something and it's on you too. Maybe it's revengeance. Maybe that's what we're going on here. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is the whole plot of Casti's story.
It's just Octopath Traveler 2 is just a retelling.
Just this one section though, just one character out of 8. So
Yeah,
we don't want you to get
and then
bored.
the rest just want regular revenge, not revengeance.
Normal, and one of them just wants to dance.
Yeah,
if that's okay.
One of them's DDR.
Casti herself is an apothecary, dealing with axe and ice-based damage. They're able to heal, but better off as an apothecary, they're better off curing some of your other teammates from status effects and whatnot.
All right, this is this world is sad.
Right? There's
Everyone's
a lot
just
going
getting
on.
like bad shit except Agnia. Something must happen to Agnia at some point.
Probably. I mean, well, it's interesting with her story because it's very much so like I want to go out there and see the world, and her dad's like, I don't think so. I think you should stay home and be safe and blah,
Okay,
blah,
so
blah."
there's at least like controlling father in
Yeah,
like there's
but at the end of the first chapter, she's like, I don't know, I want to do this, and he's like, I can see that you can do this.
Oh, so that cleared itself up pretty quickly.
Yeah, with some of these characters, like Agnia specifically, their plot or like their drive feels like it's just kind of thrown out the window in the first chapter, and then it's like the first 2 minutes of a Simpsons episode. Something happens that's only the beginning for the rest of the stuff to happen. So that's what something like Agnia's first chapter is. They're just, here's this person existing. They're done. They're exploring. Oh, now things are going on.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Time to get into some of the jobs, secondary jobs, and little fun extra stuff, etc. Similar to in the first game, there were other sort of jobs or positions that you could put your character into if you went out and explored and found the right sort of things in order to unlock them, giving them more abilities and other things to do. In this game, you have licenses, sort of like your your work card saying that you can do this and it's okay. Like these are your working papers from high school, like that you went to the.
Wait, hold on. Are there like fantasy auditors like running around this world? Like, hey, let me see your construction license to make sure you could be doing this work.
Hypothetically, probably, because
Wow.
when it comes to some of these licenses, you can have up to basically your other 3 characters, because no matter what character you get, they will have a specific job linked to them. So like Oswald is always going to be a scholar, but you can give them a secondary job. So like you can make I think there are a few special ones that we'll get into, some advanced jobs, but like you could have Oswald be a cleric just like Temenos and both do cleric things on top of their own things they can do. But you can extend that to up to your entire party. So as long as, granted, the licenses themselves, the first sort of hurdle that you have to do is mainly just going to the location.
All right, so you need to come with your application.
Pretty much. You go to the town, pretty much around wherever you start that character's journey. In that surrounding area, roughly, will not only be their place to get a license, but also like their special skill that we'll talk about soon. And when it comes to the licenses, you really only have to just go to the location to get the first one. The rest of them are can be tedious with just getting certain items or just grinding. Like if you really want your other characters to be clerics too, you got to put in some of that work and do some exploring and collecting and fighting, and it's a lot. I feel like, at least at the
going to
point where I'm
school,
at,
you know? That's
yeah, it's more fun to just go out and just have this person do this and that person do that, or maybe just have a whole team of like these four do these and their secondary jobs are all the other ones, and etc. and
yeah,
whatnot.
that seems like it would maybe be a bit of a grind just so you could be like, we're all clerics.
But you could if you wanted to. There are definitely more hurdles as you go on, but the option is there. Um, Afterwards, there are the advanced jobs. So similar to the first game where there were four better, like stronger, specific titles. They're also similar in the second one, but you come across them differently. To where I believe in the first one, like some of them you would have to which this game brings back more of, but like really high level dungeons to which you would have to fight through, kill a boss, and stuff like that. One of them is the Inventor class, to which Oswald gets almost immediately. Their special thing is they bring the ability to use axes and bows. So when you have your main class with something like the Inventor class, which Oswald has on top of him, depending on his attack, he can switch between bows, axes, swords, pole arms. Like the Inventor specifically has a lot of physical weapons attached to him that you could just select through and choose what you want. Some of these are just granted from side quests or just meeting people. So to which the Inventor was just someone I came across in Oswald's story, talked to him, and it's like, boom, you're an inventor
Oh,
too. And
I
it's like,
wish it was
okay.
that easy.
At least for this one, it was. It's the only one of the four advanced jobs that I've come across so far. Um, the other cool thing is he has this ability where he can like catapult a type of weapon to all the enemies. So it's like if you have a dagger and you know that one enemy is weak to daggers and the rest of them are weak to daggers, you can use that ability and throw daggers at everybody. Say fuck it,
Can
I'll
you
get hit
do
by
that with
daggers.
like obnoxious weapons?
You could hit them all with bow and arrows if you want. You get them all with swords. You just catapult swords at them. Just say fuck it,
Is
you
it like
know.
a literal catapult?
Yeah, a literal like trebuchet ass catapult comes out and it's like,
Let's throw a bunch of swords in there and set it off.
and it works.
Collateral
Don't
damage be
question the
damned.
process. We have the Arms Master. They're a master of all weapons, able to unleash attacks on all random foes and deal a lot of physical damage. We have the Arcanist. They wield light and dark energy, focusing on daggers and staves, using the elements to either restore HP or skill points from damage dealt to enemies,
Support.
which is cool. Very, yes. And the Conjurer is able to harness all energy: fire, ice, wind, dark, lightning, etc. Funnel shit.
So they're like the last airbender.
You know what? They are the Avatar. You are not wrong.
I knew it.
Basically it. There are also two different sort of skills, ability things that kind of tie in, where you have passive skills and latent abilities. Now, passive skills use job points collected from battles that can be spent on abilities to use in combat. Unlocking a few will lead to unlocking special passive abilities such as extra experience or higher SP. Similar to the first game, you will acquire job points based off combat. Like you'll get experience, you'll get job points. Those will add up and you can use in increasing quantities to spend on certain skills or passive skills that'll just make the general experience easier, better. So it's like I'll have one character equipped with like extra XP. So like either him or the rest of everybody gets extra XP from battles, and I can some of them don't translate using two at the same time. Like there's one where you can get more job points at the end of battles, but it'll only work like if you have two characters equipped with that skill, it won't add on to it.
Doesn't stack. No stacking allowed.
No stacking, but like some of them with the XP that can stack, or it'll either be focused on one character and then you can have it for two characters. Those stack, some don't. You just gotta play around with it and figure it out.
It's like trying to make
Now-
a sandwich.
Yeah, you gotta see
Some
what
of the
works for you.
ingredients will stay and stack, and the other ones will slide right off.
Like anchovies and butter. If you make an anchovy butter sandwich, it's just pieces. We have latent abilities. These are new from the last game. These are sort of special 1 to 2 time things you can do per combat, depending on how long combat goes for, because these little icons will take either a bit of damage dealt or damage received to fill up, but depending on the character, they can really turn the tides of battle. Oswald, for example, he has focus power, so take like one of his elemental abilities that attacks everybody, and you can focus all that power on one enemy, which
Big
that's
attack.
awesome. Temenos, he can break an enemy's shield regardless of its weakness.
Is that
So
the
if
kick
they're-
thing?
So that's its own like just standard skill that costs skill points. Like here's 10 skill points, you could just use that. Temenos, for example, when he uses his latent ability, if we're going up against one enemy, the enemy has 4 shield, and it is not weak to staff. If I use Temenos' ability, I have enough battle points, I can hit that enemy 4 times with a staff and break all of his shield. Like, regardless of what their weakness is, his ability can break shields.
Fuck your
Numerous.
shield.
Literally.
Mm.
It's so delicious.
Ugh.
Going back to each of the characters again, during the day and sort of just out exploring, each character has what is called a path action. Now, there is 2 separate ones, one for daytime and one for nighttime.
Oh, you know which one I want.
Now, I will say one of the coolest things is, I believe it's the right trigger. By clicking the right trigger, whether you're just walking out, you can switch between night and day on the fly. You choose.
What type
Because-
of world is this?
Because there are abilities that are focused on daytime only and nighttime only. They don't necessarily do the same thing, but it doesn't mean that the person who's standing in front of you will still be standing in front of you when it's nighttime. Some will be. Some, the town group will change. Maybe someone will be standing here at night and maybe not during the daytime.
I want to
Or-
know about the people that decided to stay right in front of you. I'm
For
picturing,
hours.
yeah, I'm picturing like this group of people just standing there waiting, doing nothing, and then someone else being like, "Yeah, I'll do that too."
And then one person comes up and it's like, I'm going to scrutinize you. Tell me all you know. While at the same time, I'm going to steal things from you. While at the same time, I'm going to be super cute and you're just going to give me things. While at the same time, I'm just going to buy things off of you. All at the same time. And it's like, it's just, one of my favorite things you can do is when it comes to some of these things, is you can use these path actions on just about anybody who has like a little bubble icon above their head. And those people include people who are giving out side quests. Those are little orange bubbles. So it's like, oh, they have something for me to do. So I can walk up to this person who I already know needs my help. And I can question them, steal from them, buy things off them. I can ambush them and knock them out. And all at the end of it, I can be like, so what did you need?
You see someone just in need of help, so you beat the shit out of them, you threaten them, you steal from them, and then you're like, "All right, I'm ready. How can I
what
help?"
did you need again? I've done everything I wanted. So, if you do use some of these path actions and they fail, there isn't like a morality system or like you've done bad stuff, here's 3 stars, the cops are after you. But if you fail 5 of these attempts, the town will generally have a bad view of you, to which you could just go to the tavern, spend some money, and then everyone will forget and you can go steal and knock them out again. It's like nothing happened. So
What a world to live in.
it's a lot going on. Imagine just having 4 people walk up to you and just being like, how you doing? Tell me everything you know. Give me all that you have. By the way, I'm going to buy some of it and tell me all that you know. And it's just like, what
And then
is
you
happening?
knock them out and just go to the tavern, and you're like,
Like
"Hey,
nothing
hey,
happened.
barkeep, here's some money," and everyone's like, "Ah,
Here's some
forgive and
hush
forget."
money. Everyone listens to the barkeep in every town. They get them drunk. They listen to them. So going through each of the characters, it's a lot, and I wasn't sure when I was writing this whether to keep these together, but I wanted to balance them out. But I'm like, here we go again. Let's go through each character and all their things that they do. Oswald, his thing during the day, he can scrutinize people, which based on a certain percentage, you can glean information. To which most of the time, you're going to be finding out just like random stuff. It's like this person had a dog and like they like using the bathtub and they go out at daytime. And then sometimes you'll get that blurb and it's like, ooh, by the way, here's a hidden item somewhere in the area. Oh, by the way, here's cheaper. It's cheaper to stay at inns now. I haven't stayed in an inn. I don't fucking need to. I'm a traveler. Like, but I have the option. Uh During the nighttime, though, Oswald can mug people.
So I'm picturing Oswald like going up to people, thinking it's daytime, like, "I'm gonna go get this information," and he goes to try, and they're like, "Ah, shit! I stole again. It's
More,
nighttime."
more often than not, it's more so. Let me walk up to this person at 3 in the afternoon and question them to the core of their being, and then stand in front of them for like 12 hours. And if they're still there, I'm gonna fucking mug them.
You had 12 hours to get out of here.
You had
You
your
should be
choice.
mugged.
I'm gonna help you, but I'm gonna hurt you. Temenos, during the day, he can guide people. So this is where some of the battle and exploration comes more. It does it turns more interesting. So similar to the first game, you walk around with your group. You can have 4 people. In this game, you can guide others, and in your whole line, your snake ass party of walking, theoretically, you can have 8 characters walking in a line. If you have the right jobs and everything set up where these people can guide or coerce or whatever to like walk with you, you can hypothetically, theoretically, definitely have 8 people walking behind you.
And what does that do for you?
Nothing but clog up the screen.
So what's the point of the ability?
So when it comes to those sort of abilities, like Temenos and his guide ability, when you're able to do that, and you're able to, what you can do is you can go up to different people, and you can see like their stats, how difficult they'd be to recruit, what weapons they would use, and stuff like that. And during one of your turns, as an entire turn action, you can summon them. So that way, for a certain amount of turns, every time you attack, they will also attack. And they have like a limited amount of times they can be used before they're back to wherever they are, and you can go find someone else or whatever. But it's just having like an extra little oomph to each of your attacks
Can they
once you
die?
utilize them. They can't necessarily like die. They don't have like health. They're just there for your turn. So like if that character of your 4 were probably to faint, they wouldn't come back for that
Okay.
battle.
All right. So they're attached to the character that they are being guided by.
Right. And they have a certain amount of times they can be brought into battle and
Okay.
used before they're used up and you have to find someone else or etc. blah blah blah. During the nighttime, he can coerce, which in the form of battle, it's only used to break the opponent's shield. Otherwise, he will also just glean more information. When it comes to these path actions, it's where you really if you focus on path actions, every character is like a double. Every character does jointly something similar to another character. Like out of the 8, you're gonna get 4 daytime, 4 nighttime, basically.
I think I see what you're saying.
Right. So if I were to scroll down, for example, to where is she? Agnia. During the daytime, they can allure people. You can have a townsperson follow you and use them in battle.
Okay.
Very similar to coerce.
Yeah.
Allure, or entreat Agnia's nighttime can take items off townspeople as long as you're a high enough level for each item, and they give it to her as if they didn't even need it or wanted it in the first place. It's pretty much the same thing as Throne, to which her daytime thing is stealing. As long as you have a higher enough percentage or whatnot, you're more likely going to steal it from them. Now, her nighttime one is the ambush, where you can knock people unconscious, which is useful to where some of those NPCs are standing in the way of like a ladder or a path or something. So you knock them out, you put them unconscious, and then you can go past them. They're not a problem anymore.
Who needs to be like, excuse me, when you could just knock them out?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like that on a daily basis.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Who do we got next? Oket. During the day, we can sick a beast on a townsperson to get them out of your way. It's basically the ambush. During the night, we can befriend, have a townsperson follow you, can be used in battle. We're starting to see a pattern here.
Yes.
Hikari. During the day, they can challenge people. They can challenge a townsperson to a feat of strength. Winning will reveal their learned skill for use in battle. So it's like their special thing they can use to fight. At nighttime, they can bribe townsfolk for information. We're starting to see where things are starting to line up more.
Basically, I'm seeing that you can just have whatever characters you want in your party, and you'll probably have some sort of combination to hit all of these.
This game specifically, more than the first one, I feel like it's like if you find the 4 characters that you enjoy the most, you can make the game work with it, if you so choose. Particio, during the day, his ability is purchase. He can buy items right out of townspeople's pockets. It's basically the same thing as stealing from them or having Agnia just let them give them to her for free, but you just spend some money.
So it's like pickpocketing people, but also leaving the money in their pocket.
In a way, he kind of just walks up and is like, "Do you need that toothbrush? Do you? $10, $20, $15."
So they don't really have the option to be like, "No, I'm okay."
Yeah, like, no, pretty much.
I'm buying this from you. That's it.
It's like when Agnia comes up and it's like, "Can I have this?" And they were like, "Oh my god, yes you can." It's like that's what it is. At night, Particio can hire a townsperson to follow you and use them in battle. It'll cost money, but again, another chance to like hypothetically, let's have 8 people follow us.
Why not?
And Casti in the day can inquire, can learn information through friendly banter, and at night they can give townspersons something to soothe their ailments and put them to sleep. Basically, ambush, knocking them out. It's a lot of these path actions are very like, yes, here's their thing, and here's like their version of it through this character. Moving on to good old combat. Pretty much down to a T. Same thing it was in the first game. Turn-based combat. You got your battle points. You got just a whole bunch of random attacks, elemental damage, trying to figure out what the enemy is weak to. You got these really awesome boss battles. And like one of my favorite things when it comes to these games is in general just its art style and how things look. But when you get into a boss battle, you see like the little pixelated chibi, whatever. And then, like, when you're in the battle, it's like, here's a bigger, like, more detailed, like, animated version. It's, like, creepy and stuff. It's, like, it's really cool, that level of detail that they put into those moments. Like we mentioned, shields, they act as, like, your low damage buffs. They're in the way. They're gonna stop most of your damage from landing until that's broken and they're weak or stunned. Kate's return. Those are the rare special enemies that can pop up that will run away from battle. But if you are able to defeat them quickly, they're very weak, you will get a shit ton of job points and experience from them. I remember spending hours in the first one just trying to grind and just looking for Kates specifically. There's also Chubby Kates, which are the bigger reward
Yeah.
version of them. And like we mentioned, battle points as you go through your different turns in a battle. As long as you don't use any battle points previously, the next time it shifts and your turn comes up again, you'll have a new battle point to either do more attacks, do more damage, etc., etc.
So it sounds
Um,
very similar to the first one.
in the grand scope, yes, it's. I think Jason Schreier mentioned it. It Octopath 2 might be in the same vein as something like an Assassin's Creed 2. Like you took everything that was good about the first one and you just made it better. To which I'm definitely noticing that in the sequel. When it comes to the world, a lot of it is again the same. When it comes to more of the basic stuff from the first game, it's the same. You're going to be exploring. There's fast travel points. There's a lot just to keep yourself focused on. I remember seeing Jason tweet saying that Octopath 2 feels like the Elden Ring of JRPGs. And looking at it, it's like, I get it. Like, you'll come up to a boss like you would in Octopath 1, similar to Elden Ring, and it's like you'll try for like half an hour, and it's like, oh, I just can't fucking get it. And you just turn your back, and you walk away. You go do something else. It's been like 10 hours, and it's like, oh shit, I forgot I was gonna fight you. All right, I'm way too overpowered now. Good luck,
Yeah.
buddy. Like it's that kind of stuff. But it, like looking at it in that vein makes it much more enjoyable in a way, at least because of how when it came to Elden Ring, I felt from it having it finally clicked and just being like, I don't have to force myself through this section. There's so much other shit to do, and I
Yep.
want to just go see what it has to offer. Um, Surrounding the world are these altars scattered around the map near each of, like I said, where your character, that specific character, would start. Are altars to each of the 8 gods, similar to the first game, though they offer something different this time around. Since you can acquire and get licenses for characters and pick up a secondary job. Um, the cool thing about altars is they will give you an EX skill. Each character has 2 EX skills, but only one will be available when the altar itself is unlocked. The way you unlock the second skill is by completing that character's full 4-chapter, 5-chapter story. I've gotten a few of them so far. For example, Oswald's one of his abilities is Teach, giving one ally the exact same buffs as he does at that moment for up to 2 turns. Particio has a negotiable schedule.
That's their first skill.
Yes.
Okay.
All these ones are their first ones. Partitio's negotiable schedule allows him to pay an enemy to act during their turn. So like
Pay
almost like switching places in a way.
pay an enemy to act. Oh, so during the enemy's turn.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna
You like
attack, let
steal
me
their
attack.
turn.
Yes. Or Temenos, his prayer for plenty, which can heal an ally past their max HP without any like problem. So if your HP is 1500, we'll raise you to 2000. We're not gonna.
Nice.
You got 2000 for this battle. Bam.
I
Have fun.
assume the EX skills you get for completing a character's like story arc are pretty powerful.
I'd assume so. I'll be honest. I only have 5 of the characters at the moment, and I'm about 20 hours deep. Life gets in the way. It's a fun, fantastic game. You know, it's especially with some of these JRPGs. There's a lot going on, but you really only need so much time to really get the gist of what it has to offer, and especially with how similar it is to the first one. It's just better. It's everything that made the first one great, but better. There's some fun little things when it comes to like the exploration. Once you discover a town, it's like from the get go, you could just go back to the map, click on that town, and fast travel there. there's two main continents, the left and the right side, or the east and the west, that they love talking about. It's like, oh, we didn't have this in the east. It's like, oh, they got that in the west. It's like, oh my god, whatever, shut up.
Everyone's from the south.
I mean, Agni and Pertishu, they really got that twang going on. Like they I love the voice acting.
Is
It feels, it's so nice to listen to though.
is it? Because the first one, it was like very campy.
I mean, it's a JRPG. A lot of the time,
Yeah.
I'm just tapping A to like finish the dialogue loading, read it, and then before their voice dialogue is done, moving on to the next thing. But like, there are times where I'll stop and I'll just be like, I'm just so in the moment and like living in this world. It's nice. It's just, it feels good, and the voice acting is good. It is nice. It's just, it's also JRPG, and there's a lot fucking going on. There's a lot to say. They
Yeah.
fucking talk. Um, Similar to the exploration, there's this fun, cute little thing with boats, and I love it. So there are sections throughout the map where you'll have like a little dock or a set of stairs going down into the water, which you can go into, and you'll automatically be put into like this little boat because you're in the water now, and you're just kind of like going like a single person boat for your character. You have 4 characters, so there's 4 little boats in a line just following each other to like
Everyone has a boat.
literally. And I'll get to my favorite part about that in a second, but like, you'll be exploring and it's like, here's this little section, you can go out into the water, and like maybe there's a little island off to the side here that like all that's there is a little chest for you to find or something else. Like, it's very small, you might have a battle there, but like I said, how I said before, where you can hypothetically have 8 characters on your team walking at once, you can have 8 little boats just following, and it is
Why don't
just,
they just get one big boat?
we'll get there.
Oh, okay. There's a reason.
There is a reason, but in those moments, it's just something so cute and adorable about
Yeah.
just seeing 8 little boats in like a snake line, just kind of following each other. Because like, when I've had like maybe 6 characters, I've had the 4 main ones, and I might have had like 2 being held on the side by some of my characters, and there are points where I'm just walking around town and I'll just walk in a circle. I'm just seeing like 6 people walk in a circle, and it's just like, it's the silliest, stupidest thing.
Yeah.
One, I don't know if they did this in the first one, but as if you run more, like, if compared to walking, running will make more combat encounters occur.
I don't remember, but that's bullshit.
I love running. There's a lot
Yeah.
to run about. I mean, the scope of the game is huge, but when you're down to like in the little maps, you can make it from one little map section to the next little map section to the next, etc. But with all the secrets and stuff, you will be walking around a lot. It is a big game, so it's nice to have those fast travel points or maybe just quick battles to run through. But I did find that interesting. I feel like one of the coolest things that they did was go similar to how I said, or as Jason could have said, how this is like the Assassin's Creed 2 to the first one. It's like everything about the first one was just improved upon, and I feel like one of the biggest things was the lack of interaction between the characters themselves.
Yeah.
Now, it was cool the fact that it did, if you press like the little plus button on the Joy-Con during certain parts of the story, depending on who you had, there was some dialogue where it was just focused on those 2 characters talking between each other about the current situation. Now, it feels like that's happening a lot more often, which is nice. Like, I might have 2 to 3 in a row because like some characters need to talk to each other, or maybe they want to talk to another character, or two groups are having their own conversation. It's like, who's talking about what, and it's I loved it. Yeah, they're talking the hot goss around Solistia or whatever, Solistera. It doesn't matter. They're talking more, and it's one of the things that I wanted more from the first game, is just that more of that immersion and interaction, and I'm getting a bunch of it, and I love it so far. Um, Another sort of interaction that they do is these sort of like dual side stories, side missions in a way, where throughout, I don't fully remember if they did this in the first one. I don't think so, but a lot of the characters' chapters, at a point, say it's like their second chapter, the third chapter, are split into parts where you can choose which one to go to. So, like Temenos, for example, or Throne, for example, will have chapter 1, chapter 2, and then chapter 3, part 1 and part 2, both available at the start of chapter 3, but you choose which one you want to go to first. So it's like technically there's 5 chapters depending on how many they do. Maybe there's 6. It's whatever. But throughout the game you'll come across these little side quests that are focused on 2 characters specifically interacting. Where it's like Temenos and Throne are out and just they're talking, and here's a little thing just for them, and you got to make sure you have them in your party to do so. That I think is awesome.
Yeah,
More
that's
of that,
cool.
more of that immersion into these characters just being together and not just being like 8 random fuckers plopped together and being like, figure it out, and like shit's going on. You got your own shit going on. Care about each other. It's better built that way. And to touch off on the last thing that I came across most recently with Partitio is he has a cool, it's not necessarily like a quest, but these little things you can do, and they're called sense of commerce, to where I did the first one. I was
just
doing
read the economy real quick.
Honestly, he's the merchant. He's all
Okay,
into knowing
yeah.
how things are bought and sold. And during the time of getting up to this point and like getting Partitio, I've been doing just a lot of things and collecting money. So one of his sense of commerce is, to which you can only unlock by once you have him, is he goes around different parts of the map and it's like, hey, I want to buy that. And it's like a ridiculous amount of money. So the first one we come across is this fisherman worker named Terry, and she is in the process of like finishing construction on this big boat. Like we're getting into the age of like steam engines, and this is like an old traditional like wooden boat, like a real boat, like Santa Marina, like you're gonna travel across all the 7 seas type of boat. And I come across it, and we go through this whole speech back and forth and the mission and whatnot, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna sell it for this price, and it's like there's lore as to why I chose that price, blah blah blah. And I come out of it and I'm like, holy shit, she legitimately wants me to pay 100,000 in-game currency for this item. And that's not just some easy thing you can come across. I was playing for hours, doing a whole bunch of side stuff, trying bosses numerous times, failing, doing other stuff, and coming back. And by the time I got to this mission, at the point in the game I was at, I had 94,000 currency.
That's pretty close.
So I went out and I sold some stuff, and I went
Yeah.
and bought a boat. So you go through this little quick time lapse of like the boat being worked on and a whole bunch of workers running around very quick, like fixing it up. And at the end of it, the coolest thing is you can like design it yourself. Like you have the boat and its structure and everything, but at the last second, it's like, what color do you want the boat to be? What icon do you want on the sail? So I chose a black boat with black sails and an octopath as my logo, as an octopus as my logo. Yeah,
That's
basic. They only give you like 3 options per.
no,
Like you have
but
3
still,
colors.
this
And
completely side thing that could have been completely missed, and then it even gives you like just that little touch. I like that. That's cool.
once you do something like that, to which the only real way you could travel from coast to coast was there's some coastal towns you'll get to where it's like, here's a ship, and it's like you pay this amount of leaves, it'll take you to the other continent, the other side, the east, the west, etc. And then once you get to the town, you can fast travel back and forth. But once you get to the point where you have Partitio and you buy this ship, you can just go out on this ship and explore just the open water and find like islands that aren't on the map and like special stuff that aren't part of the story, high level dungeons. Like the water itself as like a combat area is level 34. My highest level character at the moment is 25.
You're not ready.
Partitio himself is level 5 right now.
Easy.
Like he's
They're
a
really
baby.
not ready.
He is not ready. So that I'm gonna hold off a bit
Yeah,
on, but like that's only just the first scent of commerce in the game that I have come across. And
I
I'm
I like that.
it's really cool. That extra uh, I keep saying it, but like everything they was so good because I loved the first one. I just couldn't finish it due to the grind. But everything I loved about the first one is just even more expanded upon and better in this one.
So I guess that's kind of my biggest question when it comes to this one compared to the first. It seems like they've added some cool things, like that whole sense of commerce. That seems cool. The more character interaction,
Hmm.
that's all stuff I'm on board with. And obviously the art from the first one, I'm sure the second one looks the same. They're
Absolutely
beautiful looking games.
gorgeous.
My biggest issue with the first one was the grind. It was battle after battle after battle after. It was I got bored of it essentially, and
Yeah.
the story of what was happening both with the characters and in the world was not nearly enough for me to want to keep going.
I feel like if you were to compare the two games, I would say the second one definitely has more of a gripping narrative per character than the first one. Because just Oswald himself, I'm addicted to him. I love his story. He's been locked away in prison, framed for murder of his wife and his daughter, and his house burned down by his old best friend. That's exciting. That sounds like, give me some of that. And he's been sitting there stewing for 5 years with a muzzle on. Give me some of that. I want that. Um, but it's everything on top of the exploration, and like I said, even when it comes to that sense of if you just put your headspace in, this is just the JRPG 2D Elden Ring. It almost takes away half of the entire grind because you can sit there and be like, all right, I'm stuck at a boss, I gotta go grind. Or you could think about it in the Elden Ring thought of just, I'm gonna go do something else. And then you get lost in that. And then all of a sudden you realize it's like, oh, I can just go destroy this guy. I've already leveled up. There's, when it comes to this game compared to the first one, there's more incentive and a warrant to go out and do everything else than focus and just keep stewing and like grinding on one thing, which the first game I feel like had its biggest issue doing.
I guess also, and this is just like a personal thing for me now. Obviously, it depends on what you're into, but I'm also just not that into turn-based combat typically.
I get
Like
it.
I could tolerate it for certain games and like enjoy it fine enough if other things, usually a narrative or a really cool world, are carrying it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like once I get enough turn-based, I'm like, all right, this is
I,
kind of
it,
enough now.
this game hits a lot of those nostalgic feels for me. We've talked about it before. I'm the Game Boy guy. I love those old style things. There's many RPGs and stuff like that that I was either way too young or just absolutely missed out on. And these are some of those things that get me really excited. I mean, just having the love for it already and just seeing more of a resurgence of stuff like that. Because when Eastward was announced, oh my god, I came so fucking hard. I was so excited. Those graphics and like just that the modernization of those old timey feel. Oh god, Eastward is so good. Octopath continues that. It's like I now here's no, I can't say that because it's not. It's also turn based. Like it might just be a me thing because I'm excited about this. My next big game like this that I'm excited about is Sea of Stars, which comes out in August, which isn't real time either. It's still more turn based. I also feel like for me, I space it out enough to be okay with that much turn based, and
Sure.
also my love for those type of games and feel. But it's like if I were to look at something like Octopath, I could never see that being not a turn based game. I don't think it would work.
No, yeah, it would obviously be a very
Yeah.
different game at that point. That's what I'm saying. Like it's probably when it comes to that, that's just me and my personal preferences.
But for you specifically, if I were to say a turn based game, and especially your thoughts on Octopath 1, to which I know I put more time into, but even I didn't finish that one, I think this one is definitely more inviting and more. It keeps you busy without overloading you in a way. there's always something else to do or something to explore, or just even something while I play, like my own curiosity peaks and I'm just like, let me just go do something, and then all of a sudden an hour is gone. Like it's just one of those kind of games.
Why? But you can't you just hit the trigger and time moves?
No, that's not a turn-based game, buddy. It's not combo-based.
But can't you just hit the trigger and it
No.
becomes nighttime?
Well, yes, you can do that.
That's what I thought.
You can just do that.
You can. So
The
this
rest of it,
could be forever a Dylan daytime game.
off. No, there are some nighttime story sequences.
Oh, I'm out.
I'm so sorry.
Ugh,
I know it's hard.
the
It's tough.
worst.
It's not as bad as SEO getting in the way of my titles. To which I want to state before we finish the episode and get into the other stuff, I love every title that I come up with for the episodes, and SEO just hates them. It really thinks it knows what people want to see. I want to state now that my title for this episode was Octopath 2, a scholar, a thief, a cleric, and a dancer walk into a tavern. I think that's great. I don't think it's genius. I'm just a human. But I think it's pretty great.
Everyone knows geniuses aren't human.
God no, they're robots and lizards. But like, it's that I thought that was great.
What's your final score? Let's hear it.
I want to give it an 8.5.
All right, that's a good score.
I feel like I'm too. I feel like something inside of me is holding me back from a 9, but 8 isn't good enough.
That's what the 0.5 is for.
That's what the 0.5 is for. This game is great. I fucking love this game. I love the Octopath games for the way they feel and just like the sense that it brings me. I get a lot of it from nostalgia, but just those games alone, they just feel good. It's just nice. And this game does such a better job than the first one, and the first one was already good. It was so good. Love it. Love it.
We love when games are good.
Somewhere around here, I still have my collector's edition of the first game. Somewhere.
Good games are good. We like
Behind
that.
the scenes, I had Dylan pick that game up for me.
Wow,
I was,
we're going back in time.
I was on vacay, and I was like, Dylan, this game's coming out. Can you go to GameStop and pick it up for me?
Yeah, then you had to call them and be like, it's okay.
Well, yeah, because if Dylan walks in picking up a game for Dave, they're going to go, you're not Dave. But if Dave calls and go, Dylan's okay, they're going to go, Dylan. We had a fun little poll that we threw up on Twitter. Curious what you guys thought. Both Octopath Traveler games feature an array of characters. Which game has your favorite cast? And as usual, on my personal account, I had to vote. And I do every time. What we got is a resounding 23% chose the first game. First game had some pretty good characters. Now, like I said, they have their own connections to their Octopath Traveler 2 ones, but don't get me wrong, I started the first game with Ulbrich. I still love Ulbrich, Alphen, Primrose. They're still great characters, but like, god fucking damn it. Does Oswald and Temenos and fucking Throne and Agnia just dance their ass off throughout this whole fucking story? To which the resounding 77% thought that the second game had a better good cast.
It
And
seems,
I can agree.
The general consensus seems to be 2/1 in pretty much in most regards.
I love the first game, but fuck me, does that second game slap.
I guess also a little peek behind the scenes, but it does affect anyone listening now if you do vote in these polls. Unfortunately, Twitter is Eloning, which means after this week, we'll probably have one more poll we'll be able to run on Twitter, and then they're doing the stupid shit where you have to be a Twitter Blue subscriber to vote in polls after that.
Yeah.
We also run the polls on our Instagram story, so go follow us on Instagram. Every week we'll still post it on our stories there, and we'll still post it on Twitter. But let's be real, most normies aren't subscribed to Twitter Blue, which Yeah.
You only
um,
subscribe to Twitter Blue if you are notable or if you are looking to fight someone else on Twitter.
yeah, pretty much. So yeah, go to our Instagram, follow us on there. Polls, you can vote in them for free.
Go to our Instagram, go to our TikTok, go to our Twitter, go to our YouTube, go to our LinkedIn, go to our MySpace, go to
We
our house. Come to our house.
No, I don't. Well, you can go to Dave's if that's
Don't go to
hey.
my house. Don't fucking go to my house.
So you were invited to my house.
Well, yeah.
Wow. Dave, what are what are our notable game releases this week?
I mean, to be honest, there are some things coming out. I mean, if you have any interest in Voo Dolls on PC,
I don't know
the
what that
Mega Man
is.
Battle Network Legacy Collection.
Ooh, yes, I didn't know that was coming out this week. I'm actually legitimately excited for that.
All right, well, because of Dylan, coming April 14th to
Ooh,
PC, PS4, assumedly PS5, and Switch, we will be getting the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection.
those games slap.
That's our notable game release. Thanks to Dylan.
Sick. Awesome. I'm actually kind of excited now.
Okay, good, good.